Once again, this all happened because I am an idiot and I misunderstood something that my wife was saying. And I'm listening to her, but I kind of tuned her out halfway, wasn't really paying attention. I asked my long-suffering wife, Marina, does that happen once in a while? I just sort of tune you out your talk, and I'm just like, ah, la, 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 la.
Probably more than I think.
Wait, what? Who are you? What happened? She said she wanted to go to a nice place.
I want to go to a nice place.
I want to go to a nice place. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm tuning this out. I'm doing something else. I don't know what it was, but then I look at the map, and it's like, oh, nice. France. Turns out it's named Nice. We wind up going.
I want to go to Nice, a nice place.
You want to go to a nice place? So we went to a nice place.
Nice. It's a nice place.
So we're going to talk about this in a very short edition of Voca Vacay. We'll explain when we come back. That's Marie over there.
That's Frank.
Voca Vacay starts right now.
Prepare yourself for the bestest, amazingest, and overall super-duperest travel program in the history of ever. Vacation like it's your job and live vicariously through yourself. It's time now for Voca Vacay.
It happens on occasion that you do not have time for a full-blown vacation, or sometimes take a vacation, but you put on a little mini vacation. It's like an appendage to the main vacation. That's a day trip.
Yeah, like sometimes you'll be somewhere. Mm-hmm. You'll have an extra amount of time you didn't realize because you got everything in and you saw everything. So you go, oh, tomorrow. We have tomorrow now.
And we can just sort of sneak in and cram in one other little nugget of goodness right there as its own day trip.
Yes. Or you might be traveling across from one place to another and you realize we have like 6 hours to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a day trip.
Yeah.
So instead of a full-blown edition of Voca Vacay where we talk for a longer period of time, like an hour or so, about a big prolonged trip, this will be a short little day trip because I know you love day trips, and I know that I love day trips.
Yeah, I like a good day trip.
Hey, let's take a day trip.
I love opening a show and just saying, oh, yes, we were in the Mediterranean waiting for our cruise ship, which is exactly what we were doing. And if you look at vocavacay.com, you'll see that, hey, we did a show in Cannes, a show in Monaco, and all these other things. And it all had to do with this MSC cruise line trip that we took.
Yeah, because we were going for the cruise, but then we did other trips around getting on the cruise.
Yeah.
And then we found these day trips to do.
Yeah, here's the deal. I'm not going to fly to Europe, get on the cruise boat, and then fly back the next day. It's like, what are you doing? You're in Europe, for goodness sake. Take advantage. You've already paid for the trip.
Right.
So we said, okay, we wind up in Nice, France.
We were going from Cannes to Monaco.
Yeah.
And so we did we had some extra time. And so we spent time in Nice.
And it's one of those amazing things where it's like, well, we have an extra day on the French Mediterranean coast.
In the Riviera.
Whatever shall we do?
Oh, my.
So we have a Renault Clio. We still have that car. We've talked about that on previous episodes. And we're just scooting around in this thing. I love this little car.
Yeah.
And it's great. Here's the deal. We spend the night in Cannes. And so this begins the next day. We wake up, yawn, stretch. We get in our Renault Clio. I just love the way that flows off the tongue.
It was a good car.
It was nice. I like it. And so we think, let's bop up to Nice, which is only 16 miles away from Cannes.
Right. I mean, how can you not?
It's right up. It's like, I'm not going to not go there. Come on. What am I getting? Let's go.
And a friend of ours, when we said we were doing this trip, shout out to Megan, she was like, I've always wanted to go to Nice.
Yeah.
And so we hadn't actually planned. And then I went, oh, my God, we can go to Nice?
Yeah, it's like right there. You look at the map, it's like, and next to Cannes, it's up the road. It's on the A8 road. Or so. Okay. You guys convinced. We've already rented the car. It's unlimited mileage. Let's hit it.
Yeah.
So we get into the car. We drive up. Nice was founded by the Greeks, by the way, if you're doing your little historical lesson here. Founded by the Greeks. They came over and it's like, hey, it's a nice place. But they called it a Nice place. Well, whatever. And it was always a kind of nice little seaport, but then it became a retreat for the elite, starting about the 19th century.
Yes. And a lot of artists were called to there. Like they felt compelled to go because it's on the French Riviera. Mm-hmm. It's gorgeous.
Yes.
And so a lot of artists painted up and down the French Riviera, but Chagall and Matisse in particular, spent a lot of time there, lived there, and did a lot of painting there. And so there's a lot of artistic influence, and that affects the feel of the place.
Oh, yeah. And the feel is, it's very, and how do I describe this without sounding like an American idiot? It feels very European, and let me explain. Whenever you see the images of Paris and people sitting around the cafes and having the croissants and all this, I'm going, I know the French thing. But whenever they're doing that in a very
laid
refined
back,
way.
refined but laid back.
Yes.
Yes.
It is elegant and refined. It's classy.
Yes.
But unlike, say, Monaco.
Yes.
Monaco, I was afraid to point at anything.
Touch anything.
I didn't want to break anything. Monaco is like that really fancy shop your grandmother took you to. It's like, this is nice, but don't touch anything. You're going to break it.
It's very opulent.
Oh, yes.
It's really rich. And like, you feel that there.
Yeah, you're surrounded by billionaires with a B.
Yes. And like Nice is nice.
Yeah.
But you don't feel like it's still cozy. You don't feel like you're going to break anything if you touch it.
It's more approachable. It's like, this is really a great place to hang out. It has a very nice laid back vibe, very artistic.
Loved it.
Very clean, by the way. Never saw a lick of trash over there.
Yeah.
But everything is just sort of like very, I don't want to say very European, but just felt like
Yeah.
if you're the typical American going over, it's like, what would Europe feel like on a really good day? That is what Nice feels like to me.
Like you want to go over and you want to go down little side streets with tons of shops and you want to see people sipping espresso and having a croissant and like that's the feel you want as an American going over, and that is definitely the feel of Nice.
They delivered. It was awesome. So let's talk about how we got there.
Yes.
You want to talk about that first?
Sure.
So we go from Cannes, we get in our little Renault Clio. It's not an ad. They're not paying us, but I just love the way it sounds. So we get in there and we go zipping around. And by the way, the drive is easy if you like terrifying, windy roads.
Oh my gosh.
And let me explain once again, and we're going to just slaughter a whole bunch of names here because we don't speak French. And so I don't speak the language. I'm in a rental car, and the roads are narrow and thin, and they just sort of wrap around in a serpentine fashion. They're all over the place.
Okay, so we've mentioned this before. We took the A8 a lot, which is not the French Riviera road proper.
Right.
But because we were trying to get to places in a more timely fashion.
Right.
It's a little above, and geographically speaking, it's the road that goes up and around the towns and not the one that goes directly next to the water.
Yeah, it's more like a highway type.
Yeah. So we take the A8 and the A8 is fine, but we have to get the A8 kind of like goes towards Nice from Cannes and then kind of goes up and around it and continues on. But we have to get off the A8 and go further north. Mm-hmm. And so that's where the winding, that's where it began. And we were in between, we like found this little town and turned into it and thought because we wanted to go see some vineyards.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see like some wineries.
And wine vines.
And wine vines, because, that's my favorite thing.
Yeah, go see some wine vines, what you call vineyards.
Grapes with potential. And so...
I want to grow up and be drunk by somebody.
So, like, it's a good aspiration, I guess. But, like... So, and we turn into this little town. So, it's like it's in between these two little villages to get off the A8. Mm-hmm. We go up the River Var.
Yes.
And it's the Route de Grenoble Road, I think is what it was called.
Yeah.
And anyway, the town was like weird at first because I was like, look, there's all this American stuff. It was like a McDonald's, a Burger King.
Yeah.
Like all these things.
Like a Subway, I think, was there. And just regular. It's like, okay, well, this is not too Frenchified.
Right.
And this is in the Var Valley. And the area we're in, if you look at a map, near La Linguistere and Acco de Gil.
Those are the two little villages.
Yes.
And so we turn in between them, and then you get on the road to go up to the vineyards. What was the road?
The Chemin de Sequoia.
Oh, now that's the windy. Okay, I like to call those, and I got this from living in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
And my family.
There you go.
It's your kiss your butt turns. Can I say?
Yeah, you can say, well, kiss your butt.
Kiss your butt curves.
Yeah.
Like, because you basically come around a curve and it's like turning around and kissing your own butt.
Yeah, it's like you make such a jackknife. You're okay. Watch me on YouTube, and you go the other way. It's like a total one. It's like
it's a switchback.
Yeah, that's the word. I think it's serpentine. It's a switchback.
Yeah.
So you're just minding your own business. Suddenly you're going the other direction immediately. Did I mention we're in a rental car? It's a very windy. Here. The problem is compounded by this. There's this vineyard on this top of this mountain that we want to go see. So it's like, okay, and we're going up and up and up and up. Here's the tricky part. Actually, more tricky parts. Rental car. Uh-huh. So I'm not quite, I've driven cars before, so it's not a big deal. But it's like, okay, I'll figure this out. So we're going up very narrow roads, and my navigator here who is also the chief photographer of all of our escapades. So if you ever go to vocavacay.com, and you should, you'll see all the pictures. She has taken like 90. I don't think I've taken one picture. It's actually on our website. I don't do it. I'm bad at these things.
I asked you to pull over a couple times. You're like, where? Like,
Where?
That's a road. There's nowhere to pull over. I'm like, but it's pretty.
So when she's like, slow down, can you stop here? Now, there's no traffic around, and it's one-lane road. Sure, I'm in France. What do I have to lose? So we're rolling down the window. She's taking these action photos, and the problem is I'm still driving, trying not to die.
At least we weren't driving on the opposite side of the road.
Oh, yeah, that made it easier. But still, sometimes the road is just really narrow. Now, here's the fun thing. As we're going up to this vineyard, which we'll find out in a few minutes, is closed. So no point to this whole little excursion.
It was a whole cluster of vineyards. I have their names here.
Oh, yeah?
Castle Cremant.
Nice.
Chateau de Belay.
Also closed.
Domaine Saint-Jean.
Didn't get there.
And Clos Saint-Vincent.
Yep.
Vincent.
That's the list of places we did not get to go into.
And it was funny because, yes, you're right. I'm like, oh, look at this. You're like, I'm driving. And I'm like, no, check this out. And so I know that's an obstacle. Another obstacle that had nothing to do with me and was not my fault was that on this switchbacky road.
Oh, yeah.
That was very narrow and actually, to be honest with you, kind of quite cool to be on.
Yeah.
Honestly, like looking back on it, it's like, wow, that was kind of a thing.
How photogenic. Good for your pictures. I'm trying not to die in kilometers per hour. Like I can do that math in my head.
So the other problem that was not my fault was that they were doing construction.
Yes.
So some of it was, well, good bits of it actually were one-way roads. And they had this cool system that if you were French, you'd be able to read the signs and go, oh, I know what to do. But because you're American, you speak English, you don't, it's like, what does the sign say? Why are there stop signs or stop lights? And then how come there's like arrows and then there's barricades and you're like, what do we do?
So me not knowing anything about anything as far as French traffic laws go, yeah, there's random stoplights on the side of this mountainous hill, and the road there is construction. There's cones and all sorts of arrows, and I see a light, and I'm like, well, there's no one coming around. And here's the deal. In America, it's like, if it's a red light, if there's no one around, it's right on red after full stop. I just go.
Right.
Not realizing this induces death in other countries because the other way, it's now a one-way road, and I realize this, I'm going up, I'm like, I shouldn't be going right now because if anyone comes just barreling around this corner, I'm going to die, and it's totally my fault.
Well, still, because when you get off the A8 and you go north, you're basically going towards the French Alps.
Yes.
Like, so when you're on a switchbacky road and it's narrow, you notice, wow, this is really small of a road. And then you look over and you're like, wow, that is just a sheer drop off.
Yeah.
And so where do you go if it becomes one way? We finally figured out that the light system was telling us if it was, the reason why it was confusing was because it wasn't just red or green though. It was like a yellow and a delayed yellow and then like a green.
Yes.
In between the green and red. So there was like these two yellow, like you had to kind of time it. They were basically, listen, I'm going to say this. It was smart. It was a smart system. They were letting you know, hey, it's green, but it's going to be yellow quickly.
Yes.
Or it's green, it's going to be yellow. You have some time.
Yeah.
And then it's like red, don't go at all.
Okay.
And so we were just confused because it was like, does yellow mean stop or go? Like it was like
and here's the fun part. French drivers are not rude. They simply understand the laws because they can read the signs. So for all the people who look at me and try to blah, 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 because I'm in a Renault Clio, so clearly I blend. I'm sorry. I really did not know.
I know. We did. We waved at a lot of people. I'm sorry.
And
they were quite kind.
Very forgiving and kind.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we understand and it's fine. So we get all the way up, get all the way up this mountain, and we go all the way up there. It's like, look around. Beautiful scenery.
Oh my gosh.
Gorgeous overlook.
And this is important because you have to be up high and the winds and like how the sun hits the mountain. These vineyards were beautiful.
Yes.
And the castles and like the buildings, like the wineries were, they were beautiful, but we didn't get to go to
Everything's closed. Like,
Everything
okay,
was closed.
let's go back down the mountain.
It's okay. Well, here's the thing. I think it's because the timing, it was the time of day.
Yeah.
I think they're open like at certain times in the afternoon
and
in the morning.
We went during the lunch hour, basically.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, since this is a day trip and it was a spur of the moment, let's just drive over and see what happens.
And that's important to talk about. Yeah, because you need to know if you take a day trip, not everything's going to be accessible or open.
Yeah.
Because you didn't plan it.
Yeah. Doofus.
Yeah.
So driving back down,
Yeah.
by now I've figured out the lights and so we drive back down. And by the way, in this area, I got to point this out. There is a stadium. Nice has the Alanz Riviera Stadium. It is basically for soccer. Okay, it's European football, what we call soccer in the U.S. Everybody else calls it football worldwide. It is a massive stadium. So when you're driving down these mountains or anywhere around, you see this huge thing. It holds 35,000 people. It looks like it holds about 1 million.
It looked really cool. It's the Alliance
Riviera.
Massive Stadium.
Massive stadium.
When we go back, I would like to also visit that.
Yeah, just to look around and go, holy moly. So whenever you watch these things like the World Cup or the Elimination Game, something like that, and you see throngs of people just filling the stands, now I get it.
Yeah, sure.
Because there's a whole lot of people that will fit in that thing.
Yeah.
It's massively huge.
It's very cool. So we see it coming down.
Yeah, we see it come down and go, hey, look, and that's sort of like the point of reference. If you get down towards the stadium, then you're off the mountains.
Right.
Okay, so we get down and we think, okay, we did that. Now it's time to go to Nice proper.
Yes.
And we drive. It's great. She's now navigating with her full attention on the road, by the way.
Because you're in the middle of a bunch of buildings, because now you're getting toward the city proper.
Yes.
So Nice is made up of a few neighborhoods. There's Old Nice, the New Town, the Port, and the Promenade and Beaches. So we decided we wanted to go near Old Town. Because that way we could see some things.
Historical stuff tends to be in Old Town anyway, of
nice
course.
Shops, like really cute places to eat. Squares and statues.
Yes.
Lots of stuff to see. So we make our way down, and I have to say this. The traffic was amazing.
Yeah.
Getting in and around the square that we went to was really nice.
Yeah, it was a snap. I don't know who the Nice Civil Engineering Department guy is, but he nailed it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely perfectly done.
They redid it in 2007.
Ah.
And so it enhanced the traffic infrastructure of the square that we went to. And the square that we went to was Place Garibaldi. And there's a statue of Garibaldi there.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't actually made to be a fully pedestrianized area, but now it's where the main tram line kind of converges. But now a lot of people walk around there. And so there's lots of shops. And here's the cool thing about it. It's actually in between the port section of Nice and then the Old Town.
So it's not pedestrian exclusive, but it's very pedestrian friendly.
Yes. Okay, so the traffic was amazing, but the parking was a challenge. Let's talk about that for a second.
Okay, so
because we have incredible luck.
Yeah, we have incredible luck. Our best luck ever was in Edinburgh, Scotland, where we had to park. We literally found one of 2 parking spaces that were available in the entire city.
Yeah.
You know, of 1 million people, we found the one spot. I'm not making that up.
We'll talk about that when we do the show.
The Scotland show.
Yeah, but we have had an exceptional luck, and I really thought the luck had run out.
Yeah, because we're going around. And the thing is, we have a smallish car, and all the spaces over there are smallish, and these people know how to park. I mean, they can just wiggle in where there's paper thin areas between the cars, and they're good at this. And I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, I don't want to hit anything. Everything's one way, okay, and it's flowing very well. But when you see a spot, you have to commit to the spot like that. I mean, just go, 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 go. That's the spot now. Because if you go around it, now you're circumnavigating Magellan, and you're not going to get back to this one spot because someone else is going to gobble it up.
Yes.
We see a spot.
We weren't even sure it was a spot. Let's be clear.
Google Maps, which we just looked at to confirm, this probably was not a proper parking spot, but in our defense, the car kind of fit.
Right.
And we went with it.
It was kind of near where the motorcycles were parked.
Yeah.
And some small cars.
Yeah.
And we didn't see any signs around it. If we'd seen the signs, we couldn't read them. So it didn't really matter. But
so if you
we took a chance. Let's just say that.
If you own a restaurant called the St. Paul Restaurant off of Garibaldi Square.
With a patisserie next door.
Yeah, that was totally us. Sorry. We totally did that.
We may have parked, literally.
But there was another car there. And there's space for one and a half cars.
It was probably for the owners of the restaurant, honestly.
Well, or patrons or people who simply need to park quickly.
Here, listen,
and I did.
I do remember this. I did say to you, if something happens and this car gets towed.
Yes.
we're stuck in Nice. Is that so bad? Like, I was like, that's fine.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got to get on a cruise ship in a few days, but sure, we'll make it work out. Everything we own is in this Clio. So, yeah, we'll make this happen.
We were conscious of it, and we kept coming back to check. Like, we walked around, came back to check. Walked around, came back to check.
Yeah.
Then we really walked, and I was like, well.
And we're walking quickly, by
I'm
the
not
way.
actually that nervous, but I'm a little nervous. But I was like, if it happens, it happens. Sometimes you just, like, have to roll with it.
Yeah, it wasn't one of these aloof things where it's like, oh, we're going to park here.
Right, no.
In front of a fire hydrant, blocking a crosswalk, in front of a school zone. It wasn't like that. It's like this looked like a legitimate spot.
Yeah.
Whether it was a legitimate spot is still debated by scholars to this day.
Sure, we got lucky. Let's just say that.
All right. So we parked and in front of the St. Paul restaurant by the main square, Place Garibaldi. And we think, okay, so we walk down the Rue Pelorda.
So we walk around and look at stuff, and everyone's kind of having like lunch, and it's and the vibe, the feels,
Really
they're very
nice.
good,
Very
and
nice.
so we go around the main boulevard, like we backtrack to from where we drove in to the main boulevard street, and then we take a side street down called Rue Poilier, I believe.
You just said that so much better than I ever attempted. Rue Poilier.
And I believe this is what connects the port area to Old Town, because we ended up, weirdly enough, walking straight into Old Town.
Yes.
And I was like, could we have gotten here any better?
No. You found the direct line of sight. And by the way, there's no line of sight because all the buildings are tall and close together. And it's like, let's go this way. Bam, nailed it.
Right.
Every single time.
So there's some things to do in Nice. And I had looked some of them up.
Yes.
But like some of the stuff to do is like go look at the Chapel of the Holy Sepulchre, the National Theater, there's a Jewish cemetery and Holocaust museum. There's the cathedral, parks and fountains, and then this musical instrument museum. So we didn't really know. Oh, and I wanted to see this big like flower market.
Right.
We had no idea, because we had not made any real plans, what of those things we were going to get to do.
Yes.
So those were the ideas. Let's talk about what we actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we walk down this little road, and we're kind of hungry. It's lunchtime. So the first thing that we do is, and we're passing, oh my God, it was just like so many shops and cafes, and just like you could buy flowers anywhere, and like it was just really cool. And so we get down and we decide to stop and eat at this creperie.
Yes.
Because who doesn't love a good crepe?
Well, especially when you're in France, it's sort of like the national food. That and French fries are the two things I know it's something else. But you go and it's like, oh yeah, we're going to have some crepes.
Yes.
But of course we can.
And so the creperie proper was on this street. Yeah. And so we stop and have crepes.
It's the Creperie La Trimaran.
Creperie La Trimaran.
They're so much better at this than I am.
Trying.
Okay, and we get there, and here's the deal. I have a sweet tooth because I like chocolate and sweet things. I just do. That's why I love you so much.
Oh,
that's sweet.
But you like things that are savory, salty, and
yes, I'm more like savory, salt. Yeah,
right.
Deep fried. Fry me up something.
And I'm like, oh, is there an Oreo cookie with this? So
Right.
the next thing you know, we sit down, and they come out, and they're wonderful, and it has the indoor, outdoor little tables. You sit wherever you want. Pictures are going to be on vocavacay.com, and the cool thing is that we both had the crepes that we wanted.
Yes.
You had the savory one. I had the sweet one.
Yes.
And all was good with the world. You're sitting there.
Beautiful and amazing.
You hear this French. It's not a polyglot because it's primarily French over there. But you hear all these different languages and all these
Yes. And there were bells like from the
Yes.
church towers.
And there's
like,
little pigeons flying
Yes.
around. Also, it just felt so much like France. It
really
was great.
Really amazing.
Very, very happy with that.
So we have our lunch, and then we walk down into Old Town.
Yes.
And so how did we get to Old Town? We just kept walking down, and basically we ran right into the cathedral and right past the musical instrument
Yeah,
museum.
it was a great bit of luck. Okay, so a couple of things here. There's the Musée de la Palais La Caris. I'm saying that
Les
from.
Caris.
Okay.
Palais Les Caris.
And this is it was a 17th century Baroque palace.
Yes.
It was founded by this noble family. They use it as a house. Now it's a museum. And the amazing thing is that they've got all the trappings of a Baroque thing. Got the fresco ceilings, got the fancy tapestries. They also have, and here's something unusual that you won't find everywhere.
Yeah.
They have a dedicated
Collection.
the collection,
Of musical instruments.
from the Baroque period.
It is so cool. They have violas and Baroque guitars and what else do we see? Harps,
There's
clarinets,
I think there's a
saxophones.
saxophone or something like that.
Yes.
Really wild stuff. It's like this stuff's been around for hundreds of years.
It was, okay, so it houses this prestigious collection, namely the Antoine Gautier bequest, which represents the second collection in France after that of the Musée de la Musique in Paris and one of the most important in all of Europe. I am not kidding. This was a thing of a thing.
Yeah.
So like that's a cool thing, especially if you're into like music.
Yeah.
But the frescoes.
Yeah.
And the other paintings and I mean other like what are the tapestries?
The tapestries and the ceilings and it's very ornate. And remember, hey, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, come on.
So I was glad. Oh my gosh. So this was on this was on the list of like stuff we could have done, and I'm so glad that we ran into it.
Yes.
We basically walked right to it, which is really cool.
One of those happy little accidents, like, well, let's keep going down here, and hey, look at that. It's also like, and we should just point out very quickly, we also went by a very nice cathedral.
Yes.
Saint Reparte de Nice.
Yes.
Which is 17th century. It has a bell tower. It's, again, one of these gorgeous places that you just go, oh, wow, check that out. And it's one of those happy little things, a happy accident when you're stumbling along and you happen to walk directly into or past something that you find out later on, that's one of the top 10 things you should do in this entire place. That's the place. And we just, it just happened to be on the way.
Well, and I knew because we saw those things, but then we were kind of walking toward, and we didn't just happen into Old Town. It was like we kind of knew the direction.
There was a plan.
A little bit. We were trying to get to Place Charles Felix or whatever that street was and get through Old Town. And we just happened to go past the things that some of them were on our list. We were really trying to get to this flower market.
Yes.
Because I really wanted to go see it. It's the Marche à Fleurs Cours Salée.
Yes.
I really butchered that. And I'm really sorry.
There's a guy in France
friends.
right now going, yeah, it's like, sorry, I bombed it in high school. I'm bombing it worse now.
Well, it's this big open air market, flowers, food, produce, live fowl. It was something to see, y'all.
And let's point this out. This is someone, now, you've been to the Netherlands more extensively than I have.
Yes.
You've been to open air flower markets.
Yes.
That just
Tulips.
Just rows and rows
Yes.
of flowers. So this is not, to me, I usually equate an open market with more like food stuff.
Right.
This has a little bit of everything, but whenever you see open air flower markets, you just go ramped up level gaga here and go, ooh, nice.
It's the smells and the sights. It's the colors, the smells. And a lot of markets, like you said, don't have the flower component.
Right.
Man, this place was amazing.
It's vibrant. It's alive is the best way to describe it. You just come around. It's like, if you haven't, I don't want to say it nourishes your soul or anything weird like that, but when you walk in, you could be in the worst mood ever.
Oh.
And it's just like, rah, 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 and you walk in, it's like, oh, well, this is quite
This
lovely.
is lovely.
It's actually very
lovely.
nice. It's a very nice, yes.
It's a very nice place.
So we do that. So you see all these great things. And the good thing about Nice is that there's a lot you can see, but there's also a lot that's in a compact area that you can see basically on a day trip.
Yes.
You could literally, if we did not go squirreling around looking at these vineyards, which were all closed.
We could have spent more time.
We could have spent more time there and probably had a legal parking space and actually done it the right way.
Well, and some people are called to different things. There are probably a lot of people that want to do the promenade and the beaches because they're like, I want to go hang out and sunbathe. I mean, it's the French Riviera. Come on.
Beautiful.
So I mean, there's that. So you just kind of have to pick and choose, but you have to be flexible because this wasn't something that you planned for. So whatever you get to do is kind of cool.
And thank you for saying that, because we always talk about how we argue on trips, something like that. You should never argue on a day trip that you're taking on the fly.
This is true.
Because if you see something, it's a happy little accident that you happen to walk into a place, go, wow, look, that's actually a thing.
Yeah.
And if you miss it, or if it's closed that particular hour because it's lunchtime or they close early on that day, guys, it's okay. Anything you get out of that day is a bonus.
Yes.
Because other people would have been suckers and just stayed back at the hotel and tried to watch something on the TV. You actually went out and tried a quick little day trip adventure. And that's really what travel's all about.
Love it so much.
So I'm glad you guys, hopefully you get to take day trips. If you can't take a full-blown vacation, at least look for these little day trips. Like, yeah, you just got to peel off and do something kind of cool.
And I think you'd also be shocked what's more close to your own home. That's a day trip.
Yeah.
And so they're just fun, even if you're not traveling.
Yeah, go make some memories. Go have some fun with that.
Sure.
If you like this day trip, let's point this out that this is a shorter show because we're also going to couple this with another day trip
that we took in the same area that we happened to be able to do.
Yeah.
And so we'll put those together and put them out at the same time.
Yeah, and so when you hear this one, we also have one on Marseille. Marseille, yeah. We have one on Marseille, which is another great little place we talked about on our MSC cruise series. Is a 4-part series, but Nice and Marseille, they kind of deserve just a little bit of mention there as day trips because we got to spend a little bit of time at each one. And they are truly lovely places.
Love it so much. Hey, thanks for taking me to a nice place.
It's a nicer place, yes. Hey, and as always, hey, you know what? Vacation like it's your job. Get out there and have some fun and really enjoy these things.
And live vicariously through yourself.
That's right. Okay, so anyway, we'll catch you next time. Check out our other day trip episode, and then we're going to have some other things coming up in the next few months, and big surprises await. So just stay with that and check out vocavacay.com and all the social media that we are on.
We are on all the socials. The tweeters, the tubes, the book of faces,
the instant grams. All right, we're gonna wrap it up. That's Marie over there.
That's Frank.
And we'll see you next time. Love you, miss you, mean it. Bye.
Don't forget to click subscribe. As always, #Voca Vacay at Voca Vacay and visit vocavacay.com.